Well, as the Christmas season edges ever closer, it's time to take a look at just how to manage the costs and taxes for the silly season. According to my next guest, businesses need to be really careful that they are doing the right thing and keeping records of costs. For more, I'm very pleased to welcome Coco Ho, CPA accountant and head of Platinum Accounting, who's live at the desk with me this morning. Coco, welcome and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I guess a very busy time for businesses as they're all planning for Christmas parties and gifts as we head into the end of the year, and certainly Christmas parties can be quite a costly time. There's no doubt about that. How should businesses be treating Christmas parties and gifts, I suppose, for tax purposes?
Okay, let's talk about the Christmas party first. Usually I would give advice to my clients that if you could keep in-house, just have it in-house, simply because there is a property benefit exemption for this. You can spend money on your employees, whichever amount you like, without triggering the fringe benefit tax. But because there's no tax paid on that, the expense is not allowable deduction and the GST cannot be claimed. But, you can actually spend, a large amount of money on this. But if you decided to take it outside, this is when the $300 threshold will kick in. If you spend less than $300 GST inclusive on average on each employee, there is no fringe benefit tax, no tax deduction, no GST credit allowed to be claimed. But if it's over $300, that's the time nasty fringe benefit tax will come in.
So $300 is that magic number, I suppose, and it really depends, as well as you say, according to how the ATO defines, entertainment, gifts and Christmas parties and so forth. It really depends on whether you hold the Christmas party on the business premises or off the business premises.
That's right. Yeah, pretty much like that. When it comes to gifts, it can be tricky as well.
Right.
In general, we say there is good gifts and bad gifts. Good gifts is entertainment gifts, such as tickets to the concert show, tickets to footy show, something like that.
Are they considered entertainment gifts?
That's right.
So they are different for tax purposes?
That's right. It's not tax deductible.
Right.
You cannot claim GST on that. But on the opposite side, there's a good gifts. You can give vouchers from David Jones, Maya, Westfield, a bottle of champagne, flowers, something like that. Those are good gifts. But do remember, keep it under $300 if you don't want to pay fringe benefit tax.
Again, so that's $300 again for not only Christmas parties, for gifts as well. Yes. Are we talking about gifts for employees? Is there any difference between employees versus clients when we talk about gifting at business or Christmas time?
Yes, there is. Actually, for the $300 actually apply for the gifts to employees. When it comes to client, in general, as long as you can establish that the purpose of giving out these gifts are for generating future income, it's generally tax deductible. However, I do recommend my clients to keep in a reasonable range.
So in terms of, just to break it all down, I mean, you consider Christmas parties and gifts very similar in many respects. What are the type of receipts that need to be kept? Because obviously for bookkeeping purposes, that's right, very, very important. Perhaps you can tell us about the receipts that need to be kept and what type of expenses. Well, we've sort of already run through some of them, but the type of expenses that can be claimed at tax time.
Usually, if you have the party outside, of course, you will receive receipts, invoices from the bar or restaurants or something like that. And also, I usually recommend my clients to keep a good logbook. Who are the attendees, so that you could work out the average spending on each person precisely.
Yep.
And keep it for 7 years.
Sure. Yeah. All right. So there's a lot of implications there. It can be very, very confusing, certainly.
That's right.
Look, we will have to wrap it up there, Coco. But really appreciate you clarifying just how businesses should be sort of keeping their record entries in check and to avoid any sort of nasty surprises as well at tax time.
That's right.
Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time this morning.